Hello, my amazing listeners, and welcome to the Speak Up podcast. I'm Ryan, your guide, your teacher, and your friend on this beautiful journey of learning English. I know that every single day when you press play on this podcast, you are making a choice. You're choosing to grow. You're choosing to become more confident. You're choosing to move one step closer to finally understanding English the way native speakers use it. Fast, real, and natural. And before we even begin today's lesson, let me pause and say something from my heart. I am proud of you. Yes, you, the person listening right now. You could be scrolling through social media, wasting time, or doing something easy and comfortable. But instead, you are here, investing your energy in your future. And that, my friends, is powerful. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in this situation? You're sitting in front of your laptop, watching a movie or maybe a TV series in English. The characters are speaking so quickly, their words just pour out one after another. You're trying to hold on, trying to catch something, anything. You understand one word, maybe coffee or a meeting, but before you can process it, 3 new sentences have already gone by. Or maybe you're listening to a podcast, something exciting, maybe even this one, and suddenly the voice just feels like a blur. The sounds are there, the rhythm is there, but the meaning slips away like sand through your fingers. And then comes that heavy feeling. You feel lost, a little frustrated, and sometimes you even ask yourself, will I ever be able to understand English at that speed? If you've ever asked yourself that question, I want you to take a deep breath right now and listen to me carefully. The answer is yes. Yes, you can understand fast English. Yes, you can train your ears to catch the meaning even when native speakers are talking quickly. And yes, you can become one of those learners who not only follows the conversation, but enjoys it. Because listening, just like reading, speaking, or writing, is a skill. And like every skill, it can be trained, practiced, and improved. Today, I want to share with you 5 listening techniques to understand fast English. These are not theories. These are not just tips I pulled from a book. These are strategies that real learners have used to break through that wall of frustration. They will not only change the way you listen, but also give you more confidence every time you hear English in the real world, whether it's on the street, in a movie, in a classroom, or even in your own dreams. But before we dive into the techniques, let me remind you of something very important. Struggling with listening does not mean you are a bad learner. It does not mean your brain is weak or slow. Please don't ever believe that. All it means is that your ears are not yet trained for the music of English. And I use the word music for a reason, because English, especially spoken fast, is not just words. It is rhythm, it is melody, it is connection. Think about it like a song you hear for the first time. The first time, it sounds like noise. The second time, you catch a few words. The third time, you start to hum along. And then, one day, without even realizing it, you know the whole song by heart. Listening to English is exactly like that. With practice, your ears learn to hear every note, every beat, every little variation. Step by step, you move from noise to understanding. So please, carry this thought with you. Listening is not a test of intelligence. It is training. Like going to the gym, and every time you practice, you get stronger. So, let's begin with the first technique. Have you ever noticed that when native speakers talk quickly, they don't pronounce every single word clearly? They don't stop after each word, breathe, and then move to the next. Instead, they connect words together. They drop sounds, they shorten phrases, they make everything flow like water. This is what we call connected speech. And if you want to understand fast English, you must train your ears to recognize these connections instead of trying to catch every word separately. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone says, "What do you want to do?" If I speak slowly and clearly, you can catch every word. What do you want to do? Easy, right? But now imagine the same sentence in a casual conversation between friends. Suddenly, it becomes, "What do you want to do?" Now, for many learners, this feels like a completely different language. It's confusing because your brain is expecting the careful version, but real life gives you the fast version. So how do we train our ears for this?
Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Find a short clip of native English, maybe a scene from a movie, maybe a YouTube video, or even one of these podcast episodes. Listen carefully and write down what you hear, word for word. Don't worry if you miss some parts, then check it against the real transcript or subtitles. Notice the differences. Notice how words like want to become wanna, or going to becomes gonna. Notice how did you becomes didja. These are not mistakes. This is natural English. By training your ears this way, you're not just listening, you're adjusting to the rhythm of real-life English. The key here is patience. You won't recognize all the connections on day one, but every time you notice one, you have already won a small victory. And those victories matter. They build your confidence. They tell your brain, yes, I can do this. So don't chase perfection, chase progress. Because every little step forward brings you closer to the day when you can understand fast English without fear. Now, let's move to the second technique. This one is about chunking. What does chunking mean? It means training yourself to hear groups of words together instead of listening word by word. Think again about music. When you listen to a song, you don't focus on every single note, right? You listen to the melody. English works the same way. Here's an example. Someone says, I don't know if I can make it today. If you try to process it word by word, I don't know if I can, by the time you reach the end, the conversation has already moved on. That's why you feel like you're always behind. But if you listen for chunks, the same sentence becomes 3 clear parts. I don't know, if I can, make it today. Suddenly, it feels lighter, easier, and faster. You're not drowning in individual words, you're surfing on the waves of phrases. How can you practice this? Try this exercise. Listen to a short piece of English, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Pause after every 2 or 3 seconds and repeat what you understood, not word by word, but in chunks. Say it out loud. For example, if you hear, I was thinking about calling you later, don't repeat every single word, just say, thinking about calling you later. The goal is to train your brain to recognize patterns of speech, not isolated words. At first, this will feel difficult, even unnatural. But trust me, once your brain learns to catch chunks instead of individual words, your listening will grow dramatically. Suddenly, even when the speaker is fast, you will still catch the meaning. And remember this, you don't always need to understand every single detail. Sometimes just catching the melody, the main idea, is enough. That's how real conversations work. Even native speakers don't hear every word perfectly all the time. They listen for meaning, for context, for emotion. And you can do the same. My dear friends, I want to leave you with this thought before we move forward. Listening to fast English is not about fighting the speed, it's about flowing with it. When you learn to recognize connections and chunks, suddenly English feels less like a storm and more like a song. And just like a favorite song, the more you listen, the more familiar it becomes, until one day you're singing along without even trying. So, take a deep breath, be kind to yourself, and remember, every small improvement is a victory worth celebrating. So, my friends, we've talked about connected speech and chunking, 2 powerful techniques that start opening your ears to the real rhythm of English. Now let's move forward to the third listening technique, and this one might surprise you. It's about exposing yourself to different accents. Think about this. English is not the property of one country. It is not just British English, not just American English. It is spoken all over the world, in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Nigeria, South Africa, Singapore, and many more countries. Each place has its own unique flavor, rhythm, and sound. When we first learn English, most of us only focus on one style, maybe American movies, or maybe British lessons at school. That works for a while, but the moment you hear a different accent, it feels like starting from zero. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you've been listening to American English for years. You're comfortable with it. Then one day, You meet someone from Scotland, and suddenly the sounds feel unfamiliar. They're still speaking English, but your ears feel like lost. Or maybe you hear an Indian speaker giving a lecture. The words are there, but the pronunciation feels new. Many learners panic at this point. They think, oh no, I can't understand. Maybe I'm not good enough. But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. It's simply that your ears have only trained for one rhythm.
So the third technique is to make your ears travelers. Take them on a journey around the English-speaking world. Start small. Listen to a short video with an accent you're not used to. Maybe a 5-minute interview or a news clip. At first, you'll understand very little. Your brain will resist, but keep going. Do it again tomorrow, then again next week. Over time, your ears will adjust, and something magical happens. When you return to your usual accent, like American or British, it suddenly feels much easier. That's because you've stretched your listening muscles. You've made them flexible. Let me share a quick story. One of my students, Maria, only listened to American English for years. The first time she watched an Australian TV show, she nearly gave up. She told me, "Ryan, I don't understand anything. I think I wasted all my time." But I encouraged her to keep going, even just 10 minutes a day. Slowly, she started catching more and more. A few months later, she told me, "Now, when I listen to American English again, it feels crystal clear." That's the gift of training with different accents. You don't just improve for one style, you improve for all. So don't limit yourself. Explore the world of English. Let your ears dance with different rhythms. It may be uncomfortable at first, but remember, growth always begins at the edge of comfort. Now let's move to the fourth and final technique, which I believe is the most beautiful: active emotional listening. You see, many learners treat listening like a test. They sit with their notebook, their dictionary, and their stress. They focus so hard on catching every word that they forget the bigger picture. Listening is about meaning, about emotion, about connection. When you listen with stress, your brain freezes. But when you listen with emotion, when you laugh, when you feel curious, when you connect with the story, you understand more and you remember more. Think about it. How many times have you remembered a funny line from a movie even years later? Or maybe you still remember the lyrics of a song from your childhood. Why? Because emotion locks the memory inside your brain. It makes it stick. So here's what I want you to do. Stop forcing yourself to listen to things that bore you. If you love football, listen to football commentary. If you love cooking, watch cooking shows. If you love crime stories, listen to crime podcasts. When your heart is involved, your ears open wider. Suddenly, listening is not a chore, it's a pleasure. And when you enjoy it, you keep coming back. One of my students, Lena, used to hate listening practice. She said it was too hard, too tiring. Then one day, I asked her, "What do you love?" She said, "I love fashion." So I told her, forget the textbooks. Start listening to fashion interviews on YouTube. She did, and within weeks, she was improving faster than ever. Why? Because she cared. She wanted to know. And because of that, she kept listening with joy. So, my amazing listeners, here's my final message for today. Listening is not just about ears. It is about the heart. If you listen with pressure, you will always feel heavy. But if you listen with passion, English will become your friend. And I want you to know this. I believe in you. Every single second you spend listening is planting seeds in your mind. Right now, those seeds may be invisible, but one day they will bloom into understanding, into confidence, into freedom. One day you'll find yourself watching a movie, listening to a podcast, or talking to a native speaker, and you'll smile because you understand. And in that moment, you'll remember this journey, and you'll be grateful that you never gave up. So my friends, keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
You are stronger than you think, and you are closer than you realize. And I cannot wait to see how far you will go.